All right, welcome back to our continued coverage of the 65th Independence Day anniversary of Nigeria. There, a bit of history for you there, especially for the much younger generations who are trying to keep up with where we are coming from. We're going to double down on some of those histrionics and how it is going to perhaps give us a clear picture and understanding of why we are where we are right now. And who best to speak than a political historian who understands the ins and outs of Nigeria's political history and what perhaps it says about what is going on right now. Professor Alkasum Abba is here to provide some more insight and analysis to this conversation. Prof, good morning to you. Happy Independence Day. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Right, just to double down on the conversation we're having with Comrade Ahmed before we segued into this segment. The conversation is in whether Nigeria is a country at this point or a nation, because there apparently is a distinction between the two. Where do you stand on what the answer is?
Well, I think we are trying to become a nation, but we have been blocking ourselves. We are just living ourselves as a country with divided people. And I have all along argued that the biggest challenge Nigeria has faced was the regionalization of Nigeria, including Nigerian politics. And this has come to become a very big impediment to our growth. And even our intellectuals, our politicians, our journalists have this regional outlook. And it's not useful to us. Where you are from, doesn't define whether you will be able to discharge your responsibilities faithfully and honestly. And I think that we have failed to overcome this difficulty. I have explained time without numbers that when the British colonial government realized that the NCNC, which was then led by Zik, fought by Herbert Macaulay, then by Zik, was becoming a national party, mobilizing people across, especially after the 1946 campaign against the Richards Constitution of 1946, in which they tore out Nigerian territory. And they were mobilizing people. And the British were worried that if they were able to succeed, they will throw them out. You see, this is what the Congress Party did in India. I have tried to explain that when the British realized that the Congress Party was kicking them out, what did they do? And when they were granting Congress Party independence, what they did was to divide the leadership of the Indian National Congress Party along religious lines. And that's why Ali Jinnah, who used to be a prominent leader of the Congress Party, they were the ones who broke up to have a Muslim League. And then a country called Pakistan was created within the Indian subcontinent. And people were forced to move because it was supposed to be a Muslim area. Hindu were forced to move out of Pakistan territory into India. And Muslims were encouraged to leave India and go to Pakistan. And I think this is the problem of the Indian subcontinent up to now. Then Pakistan, then India encouraged the creation of Bangladesh, which used to be East Pakistan, and they revolted. So that's why Bangladesh is close to India. Pakistan is hostile to India. This is what the British did to us. Then they regionalized the politics. They regionalized our outlook. But not only that, they encouraged the politicians with regional outlook to take control of government at the level of regions and at the national level. So that's why when people say we go back to 1963 Constitution, I laugh because it is Richard's Constitution as amended in 1963. Just that which encouraged not the consolidation of Nigeria, but the segmentation of Nigeria, where the regions were being seen as autonomous. And this is what people want us to go back to.
Yeah, and how much of that history, Prof, is still shaping today's Nigeria?
It is. Even in our politics, some parties say they zone it. north and south. What does it mean? In politics, is the quality of your party, the quality of your programs, the quality of your candidates. That is what is important. I don't care if you bring a Fulani man like me as president and I'm hungry. What am I going to do with him? I want somebody who can put food on my table. And this is what people need in this country. And this one who are being blocked from achieving this goal with this regionalism, then ethnic comes in, and so on and so forth, and even religion. When you are empty as a political party and as a politician, you have nothing to offer. That's why they resort to ethnic and religious and regional outlook. Oh, this is the time for the North. And somebody will say, no, this is time for North Central. No, this is the time for this. What is the use of all this rubbish? What people want is to move forward. I used to say that we started with countries like Malaysia. What do you call it? South Korea. Where are they now? And where are we now? It's like when you start with your colleagues car racing, they are moving at 120, you drop to 40, you struggle to go to 40. They have gone and left us behind. And why? It's because we have not been able to sort out the quality of our politics, the quality of our politicians, the quality of our political parties are very poor. And that is why, you see, corruption is killing the country. The biggest problem we face, why we are not able to do anything, is corruption. Because if you are not able to sanction people, then you cannot stop stealing. In China, if you steal $5,000, they shoot you. Here, now, when a judge in Abia State sentenced the former governor to death for stealing 1 trillion naira meant for the state's airport, people are saying it has never happened. This is like a sensational story. But this is what it should be. That how can a governor steal money which is meant for airport and go and keep it in Australia? The money has been traced to Australia. And you think you allow this to happen. You can never have successful governments. That is why every government that comes covers up for the corruption of its predecessor. Right. Who has probed anyone he has taken over from? Because they know they too, they will do the corruption.
Right. And, you know, looking back at that particular history that you mentioned, you started the conversation talking about identities. And I believe that that was also a part of the conversation when the regional governments were given their takes about where Nigeria stands. Awolowo's take is popular. Ahmadu Bello's take also is very popular about, you know, accepting our differences as a people and working with that to form a nation. How do you reverse engineer that thought process? That we are first Christians or Muslims, Fulanis, Igbos, Yorubas first before we are Nigerian, because Nigerian seems to be a secondary identity.
Yes, but it is this philosophy which has dragged us to this level. I've said that people are suffering. You know, during Buhari's era, many people think that Buhari was a Fulani man. So if he comes with something, oh, this Fulani. But Buhari was not Fulani man. His wife is Fulani. Yeah. But Buhari does not even speak one word of Fulfulde. He is not. If he speaks in English, you know, it is Hausa Daura intonation. There's nothing Fulani about it. But then because of this, we have gotten into this kind of trivialization of governance. Then they will say, oh, if he does this, if he does that. I was saying, when this government came, they came with a program called Ruga. There was Ruga thing, which the vice president was doing. I said, if it was Buhari who had come with that, the amount of noise...
The Ruga initiative started under the Buhari administration.
No, it collapsed. Right. It is these people who have restarted it. Because under Buhari it was bashed. Then tinubu came and said, Ruga, nobody will say anything because you can't accuse Tinubu of being a Hausa man. You know, the regionalization has been done in such a way that our psychic, people in the South believe that everybody in the North is either Hausa. If you insist you are not Hausa, then you are Fulani. And refusing to accept that there is also diversity. There is diversity. Everywhere you turn is diversity. Instead of harnessing our diversity and use it for our progress, we are using it to dismantle ourselves.
Right.
Corruption is the biggest problem.
Right, and as a common denominator, right, it's one of those few issues that you find decade after decade. In 1960, after the independence, before the first coup, I mean, the young majors that initiated that coup used corruption as one of the bases for why they did what they did. Then the counter-coup, then the Civil War, then the Second Republic came on board. Then accusations of corruption again. I mean, talk to us about how corruption has shaped the narrative of our country for the past 65 years.
No, I think the first coup was not, sincerely speaking, a corruption problem. It was regionalism. And that is why the coup leaders were all from Eastern region.
But they used maladministration.
I'm coming. They are all from the Eastern region. So when they came, they killed the premier of the Northern region, the premier of the Western region. And then they did not stop at that. They killed military officers who are not part of the government of Northern region and Western region. So you see, it is that dose of regionalism which intoxicated them. And the media is part of the problem, which promote this kind of things, and so on and so forth. So when they came, this is what they did. They did not kill the premier of the Eastern region. In fact, Ifejuana, who did a lot of the killings, drove to Lagos and was seen with Michael Opara drinking cocoa. And when we asked, they said, oh, Archbishop Macarius came to visit and he did not leave. They did not kill any senior military officer from the Eastern region. So it is not corruption per se of the First Republic that has pushed people to go and kill. No.
I mean, I'm saying that corruption has been either the undertone or the pretext for several military interregnums, right? And it is still an issue that we're still dealing with today. So that's the key point.
I'll tell you, it is growing. It has reached a point of unbearable now. There's this story. They said Jana Abacha, when he was head of state, he sent for Shagari. 2 days he didn't see Shagari. He was mad. How can I call this man? He will not see him for 2 days. Somebody had to go and explain to him. Shagari lives in the Shagari village. There is no telephone line in Shagari. And Shagari did not have a house in Sokoto. He was shocked. He said, I am the one who read the statement accusing them of corruption. But here's this man who lives in the village. He was president. He didn't have a house in Sokoto. So, you see, it is easy when soldiers are taking over government, they will make this accusation. But I will tell you, it has become very, very serious since 1999. There has been no control of corruption in Nigeria. And this is the biggest problem. I said that no new government probed its predecessor since 1999.
I mean, the Buhari administration heavily probed the Goodluck administration.
They did not. What did they do?
I mean, the Dasuki case.
What did they do?
Multiples of other
No,
cases.
it's just because Dasuki was not on good terms with Buhari. When they were the ones who did the coup against him in 1985. It's nothing, not because Dasuki has done anything extraordinary. It's just because he was not in the good books of President Buhari. That's all.
So you believe there's a personalization of even the anti-corruption fight?
What?
They are sacred cows.
I don't know what you call, whether you call them, but people are not being investigated. Look at this government. It's only Emefiele who is being propped. What has happened? Nobody else is being accused. But when you talk, you hear people talking quietly that some people have gone to refund monies, and so on and so forth. You don't fight corruption like this. But I tell you, because each one that comes is going to do corruption, so they don't want about investigating corruption. This is it.
All right, then let's shift to the economy. Going by the president's speech, he rightly stated that the foundation in which his administration started on, was a bit faulty and not up to the standard for his administration, to kickstart. But then he has been able to moderate and then caution some things, take some tough decisions as the president of this country, and he rightly stated that our economy is boosting and doing well. So now we have seen all of this, and then we know that Nigeria as a nation is blessed with agriculture, oil, and even human capital. Now 65 years later, many still argue that we have underperformed despite these advantages. Do you think our economic growth has matched our true potentials?
No, I don't think so. And I think President Tinubu said he inherited a terrible economy, but he has made the economy worse than the terrible economy that he faced. Because it is not what government says they have achieved. Go to the market. How prices have gone so high. Cost of living has escalated. Transport has escalated. Now, anybody who is a pensioner, if you have a car, your pension money may not buy you full tank or more than 2 full tanks in a car. How do you justify this kind of so-called economic reform? You tell us about figures, GDP has gone up. What's the use of GDP when I'm hungry? This is the point, that whatever it is that they are doing, which they think is good, I think they have not related to the population. People are hungry. We have never been in this situation. I don't even want to call it hunger. I want to say starvation. We have never been in this situation since we achieved independence. And you tell me you are reforming the economy. So what do I do with the reform economy? What is my business with how much foreign reserve we have when I'm hungry?
So when the president, Prof, says things can only get better from here on out, you don't believe him?
Why should I believe him? You see, I am sick. Then you came and increased my sickness. You said, don't worry, you will recover. I'm doing it just to help us stabilize. You cannot, he has destroyed the economy. And then they are telling us that, oh, it's temporary problem. You will overcome it. When I'm dead, I want to live a life, my life here.
Right. And if you have to juxtapose it and do some comparison, right? You earlier on talked about some of the countries that are age mates, so to say, as a nation, that also got their independence in 1960. In fact, some people call the year 1960 as the year of Africa because 17 African countries got their independence, right? But if you take a look at the list, from Cameroon to Togo to Mali to Madagascar, Democratic Republic of Congo, Benin Republic, Somalia, none of those countries on the list has anything ahead of Nigeria in terms of economic indices, in terms of political development. I mean, some of them are relatively much more stable compared to Nigeria, but none of them compares to Nigeria in the real sense.
Yes, but they are not comparable to Nigeria. We have the highest number of population in Africa. We have the highest number of resources, natural resources in Africa. We have the highest number of educated people in Africa. And yet, we are among the least developed countries. How do you explain this? How do you explain it? Because we are lacking one thing: leadership. Selfless leadership. We have not had selfless leadership. people who are concerned about Nigeria and want to push Nigeria forward.
From the beginning or at some point?
Especially since 1999. Because I will say that the leaders of the First Republic in particular, although they were divided, they divided as they did this, but the regional governors, the regional premiers, they have something to show. They had limited resources, agricultural products they were selling and getting money. But they had built schools, they had built hospitals, they have provided support and services, and even supported education, scholarship. Me, up to the time I graduated in the university in 1977, I was on scholarship. So it was possible for any child in my state to come to the university at public expense. Now it is not possible.
I mean, the
And then the president is boasting that we have 230 something universities. What's the use of the universities?
He did talk about NEL Fund, the student loan scheme.
The student loan scheme.
You don't think it's an iteration of what we had in the past?
Is what I call fraud, because somebody can graduate for 5 years, 10 years, there is no employment. You have given him a loan. How do you expect him to pay the loan? Even in America, where they started this, they have to, from time to time, forgive. Up to Joe Biden, they were forgiving. So there is no point you tell us that you have given loans, that it is progress. It is retrogressive. You are supposed to give scholarship, not loans to people. Give them grant, let them study. But the problem is, even if you study, where do you find jobs? You know, when I graduated in 1977, they were looking for me, left, right, and center. Jobs were looking for me because there was scarcity of skilled manpower. Now you have thousands of graduates with nothing to do. Some of them are taxi drivers, some of them are doing nothing, and so on and so forth. Lying down, as a parent, you spend and support your child, he comes out, there's no work. So the governments have not been running the economy in such a way that it creates employment. And when you don't create employment, education has become purposeless. What is the use of somebody's degree if you cannot get job? And you see, and the condition of service of university staff is very poor. Many of them who get opportunities, they run away, like our doctors, like our nurses. UK is full of Nigerian doctors and nurses because their own two have left to other countries. So when you train people, you have no jobs for them. What's the use of the training? We don't get proud that we have over 200 universities. What do they produce? And when some university lecturers are even selling pepper and tomatoes to make up their cost of living, which this government imposed. Because before, when a university professor was earning about 500,000, he could live comfortable with that money. Now, you have 500,000. If you have a wife and you have children, you cannot feed your household with that. And I have even argued that in the present circumstance, not even a federal PAMSEC, who is the highest paid civil servant, can maintain his household or her household with the salary. So this is the one that is forcing now. It will force civil servants, anyone who has got opportunity for corruption, to do corruption, especially that nobody is punished for corruption.
All right.
All right, another concern is with, the younger generation. I mean, the Nigerian youths are, a bit, I won't say a bit, but should I say totally disconnected from the reality, of Nigerians celebrating its independence at 65 years. I mean, many Nigerian youths are saying, the system is not favorable. Even you rightly said, most of these youths graduate 5 years, 10 years without a job. And even for, some of these youths that want to go into business, the environment is not, there's not enough enabling environment, to support them and make them feel like citizens in their own country. So how can Nigeria rebuild a strong sense of national identity among its youths? Because The president rightly stated this morning while giving his speech that the Nigerian youths are the future of tomorrow. I mean, we've been hearing this, you know, the Nigerian youths are the future of tomorrow.
I'm sorry to say this is just rhetorics of the president, because it is the responsibility of the president in our system to come up with policies and programs that will create jobs, help the youth to get integrated into serious economic activities. But the economy is in shambles. There's nothing you can do. If you go and ask this, I was reading how some of these people who are surviving now, you have to do 2-3 jobs. Even if you are on, there is a woman who was doing hairdressing. She says she has to fast few hours in the day to go and sell tomatoes and work for somebody and earn about 3,000 naira. I think that's around Lagos. And then come back to her own. So while before, she did not need to do that. When the value of the naira has crashed, and the president said that we now export, because we cannot afford, even if you import commodities, people cannot afford to buy them. So there is no way, because since import is a private affair, and nobody can go and import goods which he cannot sell. And that is why our import dropped and our export rose. It's not because our economy has expanded. No, it has not. They will tell you GDP has done this one it has grown by this. What's the use of the growth when we don't see it on the table?
And Prof, there's this concern that we are cultivating a generation of people who only know how to lament, who only know how to complain. Well, because the world over, every country you go to, whether it is the UK that you know, colonized Nigeria, Great Britain obviously, but you go to the United States, you go to Germany today, the concerns are quite existential across Europe. You go to Asia, there are also prevailing socio-economic, socio-political issues that they're dealing with. For the past 65 years, is there anything that points to a direction where Nigeria has reason to believe that our history shows that things are going to get better? Do you see any sort of trend that shows that, whether it's political or social, that things are likely going to get better because we're learning from our past mistakes?
Sorry, not the train we are in now. It doesn't give people hope, because I don't see how the economy will recover. I don't see how you can expand jobs. I don't see how so many things, positive things, can be achieved in the present, using the present economic policies of the government. And I think that people have to be reasonable to understand this. You know, changes, when they said that if you don't allow peaceful change to take place, violent change will take. Look at what is happening. Look at Bangladesh. This woman, Hasina, she kept on staying, rigging the election, doing everything. And when people got fed up, they kicked her out violently. And what do you call it? Even some of our ministers were stripped naked and thrown into river and so on and so forth. Look at Madagascar recently. Don't allow such things to arrive, to reach you. Block it by improving your governance, improving the living condition of people. What is the use of government when it does not improve my living condition? Because the government is supposed to improve my living condition. Either create enabling environment for investors or create jobs for us, but none.
All right. And just before we wrap things up, because we're completely out of time, speaking politics, how much of that growing regional or largely political identity politics do you think Nigeria can take? Because 2027 is just around the corner. It has been the biggest political talking point for months now, whether it's the coalition, whether it's what's happening with the PDP, or what the administration is fairly saying about its political opponents. What are your concerns about the next election being just like the others, you know, being all high stakes and very little reward for Nigerians?
Yes, but I think let's hope that INEC will conduct free and fair elections, and the judiciary will give people who have won election their own victory. See, because the biggest impediment we have, which is making a mockery of democracy, is lack of democracy in a democracy. We are supposed to be a democracy, but there is no democracy going on. No democracy at the party level, no democracy during election. You go and join the line, vote, and then you hear another result. And unless they stop this, we cannot survive this situation, because people think that voting is going to be a waste of time. In my own state, Adamawa, there is now an apathy that this new voter registration, people didn't go. Just a handful went. And somebody will tell you, I have had people who said, I'll never vote again because it's useless. So let them allocate and we'll keep on going.
That's a very bleak final thoughts, but Prof, thank you so much for the analysis.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you very much for stopping by this morning. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, we take a short breather now, and when we come back, we'll shift to the economy and ask how independence shaped Nigerians' business environment. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.